Hi everybody, Marc Aquino here. Sorry for not actually showing up. I'm busy working on something right now, but I promised that I'd give a little review for the first season of Marvel's Daredevil, so here it is. For those of you who aren't too familiar with Daredevil's origins, let me give you a quick recap. There's this young man by the name of Matt Murdock, who as a child loses his eyesight due to an accident with being exposed to acid, but losing his eyesight heightens the rest of his senses. By day, he's a lawyer, running his own law firm with his friend Foggy Nelson, but by night, he's a vigilante who roams the streets of Hell's Kitchen, fighting thugs and corruption, and delivering justice to those who need it the most. Daredevil was of course adapted into a movie in 2003 with Ben Affleck as Matt Murdock, and yeah, we all know how that turned out. So obviously this show had a lot to prove for itself. Not only was it like the first of a few shows that Marvel would plan for Netflix, but from what we'd seen in like the trailers and TV spots, yeah, it would look a lot different from what we've seen from Marvel before. Like, it looked a lot darker, grittier, more based in reality. It doesn't really feel that much like a superhero story. In fact, it feels more like a crime drama more than anything. And to me, that's what sets this apart from every other like major superhero comic book show that's out right now. The show is heavily influenced by a miniseries from the 90s that Frank Miller did called Daredevil the Man Without Fear, which basically reimagines his origin story. This show takes heavily from that. Actor Charlie Cox plays Matt Murdock. He hasn't really been in that many movies and TV shows yet, but I think this is really going to change that. He was really good as Matt Murdock. The rest of the cast is really great too. There's Deborah Ann Woll as Karen Page, Elden Henson as Foggy Nelson, Rosario Dawson as Claire Temple, and of course, Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin himself, Wilson Fisk. My god, he was phenomenal. Like, one of the big things that people complain about with Marvel Studios is that, aside from Loki, they don't really have a lot of great memorable villains. Wilson Fisk changes that theory completely. He was so good, and you could really understand why he makes the decisions that he makes in this show. You can see why he's evil, why he does all these terrible things. D'Onofrio makes Wilson Fisk relatable, and that's one of the best things that you can do with a villain, is like make the character relatable, and you can see why, like the layers of his character. Let me quickly list off all the episodes that really stood out for me. There was, of course, the first episode, Into the Ring. The second episode, Cut Man, where we're introduced to Rosario Dawson's character, Claire. And it has probably the best action sequence in the entire show, without spoiling anything. There's a scene towards the end where Daredevil's fighting a bunch of thugs, and it's all done in one long, continuous shot. No shaky cam, no cuts. It's just all flowing, all continuous. Like, you could see the action clearly. It's definitely one of the best action scenes I've seen in a movie or TV show in a very, very long time. There's also episode 7, which is pretty much ripped from the Frank Miller miniseries Man Without Fear. The episode's called Stick, where we see this character that's very important to Matt Murdock's past. A blind man that knows a lot of martial arts who calls himself Stick, played wonderfully by Scott Glenn. And he pretty much teaches young Matt Murdock all the martial arts skills that he knows today. There's also episode 8, Shadows in the Glass, where we delve more into Wilson Fisk's backstory and how he pretty much became as like messed up as he is in like the main course of the show. It's really, really fascinating. There's episode 10, Nelson v. Murdock, where it delves a lot into Matt and Foggy's relationship, like back in their college years when they first met up to today. It's a really great episode that really showcases how far the two of them have come, like even before we first meet him in episode 1. Then there's episode 13, Daredevil, which is pretty much like the season finale where, you know, everything comes up to a head and Matt Murdock pretty much has his final showdown with Wilson Fisk, and that's when he puts on the iconic red costume, which we really don't see up to that point until like the last 20 minutes of the finale. And I really, really applaud the showrunners for that, for not giving us the red suits until like the very end, because all he wears pretty much all season is like this fully black like costume that, as I mentioned with the episode with Stick, is pretty much ripped from the Frank Miller Man Without Fear miniseries. In fact, at this point, if you haven't seen the show yet, I suggest you read Frank Miller's Man Without Fear miniseries before you watch the show. That way you do a little bit of research. But just don't watch the 2003 movie. Yeah, that's not going to help you in any way. So overall, I really dug Daredevil Season 1. The writing's great, the performances are great, the direction is great. I love the action sequences are some of the best you'll see in a TV show in a long time. It is by far the best TV show that Marvel has ever done. A lot better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter. In fact, I even think it's better than all the shows that DC is doing, like Flash and Arrow, and a hell of a lot better than Gotham. And if you're a Marvel fan like me, it'll definitely get you excited for all the other shows that Marvel has planned for Netflix, like aka Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and eventually all those characters are going to meet up in one big miniseries for Netflix called The Defenders. Plus, this will act as a really great appetizer for Avengers Age of Ultron, which, by the way, I have a little announcement to make. I'll be attending a private screening for Avengers 2 in IMAX 3D with my pal Zachary Marsh from WeLiveFilm.com. We're going to do a review of the movie together, and it'll be up sometime around Wednesday or so, which is actually a lot earlier than I expected to put it up, so that'll be really cool to do. So what did you think of Marvel's Daredevil? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What was your favorite episode? And of all the Netflix shows that Marvel has planned in the future, which one are you excited for the most? Let me know in the comments section down below. And as always, if you like what you saw here, feel free to press that like button, share this with your friends, and hey, subscribe if you want. But until next time, I'm Marc Aquino. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Subscribe!